What's up, guys? Welcome to the 51st episode of Chillporeal. I'm your guest, Brian, the Nerdporeal life form himself, master of the continuum. And with me, well, I have a guest who I've had not had on long overdue. One of my earliest supporters when I started streaming, the one and only Popculture Mechanic. What's up? Thanks for being here. Thank you so much for doing this.
Hey, yeah, I appreciate it. I'm glad to be here and glad to see everybody in the chat too. It has been a long time.
It has been. So Pop, I noticed like you were one of my earliest. I noticed you were one of the earliest people that were in my chat when I started doing video game streams. So how'd you find me?
Gee, I must have been both been on like a Friday Night Tights chat or something like that, and I saw your name scroll by. I think you reached out to me or something and said, "Hey, that's a cool name." And I'm like, "Oh, well, who's this guy?" And I checked you out, and you were doing your Zelda, I think, Link's Adventure. I remember watching you play that, helping you out with your audio and getting the levels just right and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I started doing video content. So I did a whole bunch of videos going up to, I think, A Link to the Past. Then I started doing game streams. And then I started doing game streams. So yeah, Link to Adventure of Link was the first thing I wanted to do. And I couldn't get the audio right because it was my first time streaming. I had no idea how to check that. So yeah, I really appreciate that. I know I ended up doing another stream. And then I did a few other NES retro related streams. So yeah, so I figure, it's awesome to it's awesome to have met you and to see that you've grown yourself. So, but Popculture Mechanic, why that name? Why Popculture Mechanic? Why did you start your channel? How long have you had your channel, by the way?
So this is my second channel. The first one I had was during the Wild West days of YouTube back in 2006. So back then I was doing a lot of cosplay and stuff like that and making music videos. And that's what I had it for mostly. And it was okay. Like you didn't get dinged with copyright or anything like that. You could pretty much, do what you like. And it was great time. And then all of a sudden Google bought YouTube, and well, that was the end of that. That killed everything. Oh, no. And then I took a bit of a break after that for a while, just because, down came the copyright hammer on stuff that you wanted to do. And I'm like, okay, well, I want to get this channel up and going. And I really have Mike from Pacific 4 and 4 to thank for that, because he invited me on to his stream as a guest. And I'd never done that ever before. And it was to talk Transformers.
I was listening. I think I was the one viewer. I think I was the one.
There you go.
The one guy. Yeah, I was walking around and I was listening to you guys talking about Transformers. Yeah, Transformers was a little bit before my time because it came out in fall of '84. You know who was born at that very same time?
That was you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm so between the two of us right now, I'm the youngling here. So
there you are. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you. So Popculture Mechanic. So obviously you do your trades talk every week. So you obviously are skilled. I'm curious because I may or may not be an engineer of sorts. So I'm curious what kind of trades you are. Do you do like fabrication? Do you do assembly, building?
So my main trade is known as a millwright or / industrial mechanic.
Okay.
So for that. For those that don't know, we install and repair heavy equipment. stationary. If it's mobile, then you call yourself a heavy duty mechanic. But
Okay.
yes, that's my main trade. I did do a little bit of I did about 2 years of heavy equipment technician, but I couldn't follow through to the end because the guy I was learning under, he left the company. So I had to, otherwise I would have been dual ticketed. But
Oh, okay. So do you? I'm taking it. You know how to read prints, read
Yep.
mechanical prints,
Yep.
fabrication prints, and all that. Okay.
Drawings, prints, yep, all that kind of stuff. I can do that.
I'm the jerk that makes all that stuff.
The draftsman, or you just
I mean, part of the engineering skill is to do 3D. I mean, everything now is 3D CAD.
AutoCAD, yeah.
AutoCAD is 2D. Most companies usually either Autodesk, Inventor, SolidWorks, or Creo. Those are the three big ones that I've worked with personally. There's other ones that I don't know of. So, but yeah, I'm actually relearning a whole bunch of stuff right now because I'll be starting a new position in a couple weeks. And they're known for equipment for let's just say wastewater management. So we'll be dealing with cities and all that. So I'm actually in the process of learning a lot of stuff right now. So yes, your trade talks have been gathering my attention lately. So
as I hope it does for everybody too, because I think it's something that's important. And as well, like getting back to the name Popculture Mechanic, I'm like, well, okay, well, what do I like? I love a variety of things that all fall under the pop culture umbrella. And I'm like, well, and I'm a mechanic. I'm an industrial mechanic. So maybe I'll just maybe I'll just do that. Combine the two together and call myself Popculture Mechanic. And, you guys can just call me Pop for short, and it works out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. I do want to keep listening to your stuff because there's a lot. I mean, your stuff is really, really informative. Like there's a lot of stuff I don't know. I have to kind of catch up with everything. I know you deal with a lot of Canadian stuff, so
it's Canada. Where I live. So yeah,
exactly. Canada.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But before we go any further, I want to say hello to the chat. So we got tits and ray guns. Tits and ray guns. Yep, said it. It's true. And then we got the person that if anything goes wrong, we'll just blame him. Angry Canadian.
Yo, AC.
And then we got DJ Ronnie G. DJ Ronnie G. Do me a favor. Can you find Klobby's GoFundMe page? I'll talk a little bit about that. We got LPK. What's up, LPK? How you doing? And we got Trip. We got a little bit of White Cloak infestation right here. David Glenn. What's up, David Glenn?
Hey, DG.
Got Mark Clark. Not older than Trip. Well, actually, no. I'm very much older than Trip. What am I saying? Okay. And yeah, I think that's it. That's it, everybody. So yeah, thank you guys for being here. So to talk about Klobby, you know Clobber in Times, Pop?
I've seen him around on Twitter.
Okay, so Clobber in Times is he does shows mainly for Star Trek and for he's a big old school Marvel. I think he's a big old school Marvel comic fan, so he does a lot of comic streams as well.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, him and Raquel Briggs, who do the Saturday night Star Trek streams, it's one of the best streams I've ever done, or I've ever had the privilege to listen to. I haven't been able to listen to them in a while, but I know that they've been continuing to go strong. I mean, they got as far as, start with the original series, and they went all the way as far as, I think Voyager or something. So apparently Clobber in Times, now he's an older man. He had a heart attack. He had a heart attack in a parking lot, and he fell and he hit his head. Luckily for him, there was a nurse there that was able to resuscitate him. They got him to the ICU. But the thing is, and this is something that his family went on Twitter and said that because of the fact that he hit his head, there's very little brain activity and things are not looking good. So, I'm want to. So I asked DJ Ryan G, because the family's kind of started a GoFundMe for donations and everything. Okay, DJ Ryan G put it right there in the chat. So I mean, I had the privilege of having Clobberin' Times on my stream when the Orville New Horizons came out. It's gonna be 2 years since that debuted, and I was able to get him. On Anti-Derivative Jill, a whole bunch of people from his viewership, and it was a good time. I think, out of anybody on the tubes, even more so than Robert Meyer Burnett, I think Clobberin' Times probably had the best knowledge and probably the best insight into Star Trek. Second to none. So, so this is a tough time. A lot of people love him. Even heck, even you got Nerdrotic, retweeting it and everything. So, I hope everything goes well, but if not, I mean, I hope that the family finds peace during this rough time, that you keep them in your prayers, your thoughts and prayers.
Most definitely.
And of course the best take that he ever had, and I asked him, was, "Oh, they like Picard season 3?" He did not. So it's all right with me. But
there you go.
But yeah, that's what I wanted to share. So just keep Clobberin' Time in your thoughts right now. So sure. Yeah, I didn't want to bring this. I didn't want to drag the stream down, but I felt this was something that should have been brought up. So, but yeah, Pop, thanks for hearing this out. So I got a question. So pop culture, how far does that go? I know you cover mainly anime stuff from Japan, mainly anime, and I think certain video games. I know you played. I don't know if you played Advance Wars, but I know you played Paper Mario, or not Paper Mario, Mario and Luigi, Superstar Saga, and I know you played the Minish Cap, Legend of Zelda. Yep. So I'm curious. I know you cover those things. You cover anything else? You cover like movies or shows or anything outside of anime?
So I've tried to do a few things. I did a history of Buck Rogers because I found that was quite interesting, and I didn't know whether anybody did anything comprehensive about it, because I like to go back even further to the old time radio and such like that. That's one of my hobbies. I listen to it a lot. So
I got a question for you then.
Okay, go ahead.
For you then. Who's on first?
What's on second?
I don't know who's on third.
Third base.
Why are you asking me for?
Who's on first?
Who?
The guy. The pitcher's name. The guy's name. First baseman's name.
Who?
First baseman's name.
Who?
I'm asking you.
Who? That's what I'm telling you. Who?
I don't know if a lot of guys will get it. Maybe some will, but
I can tell you what's on second.
Yeah, what's on second? Who's on second?
No, what's on second? Who's on first?
I don't know. Third base.
He's on third base. Come on, man. Are you crazy? I'm sorry. I just had to bring up. Yeah, I when I was a kid. Now I grew up on the Stooges and Laurel and Hardy.
Oh, good.
They would play. The Stooges were always on Sunday nights in the 90s when I was growing up. I used to video record them on VHS.
Nice.
And sometimes they have Laurel and Hardy on too. So I got to expand my knowledge of slapstick comedy. Then all of a sudden, I think there was a special on NBC, Seinfeld was still going pretty strong. But it was the program was called Seinfeld Meets Abbott and Costello. Now Abbott and Costello were already, this was in the 90s, so Abbott and Costello were already well deceased by then.
Oh yeah.
But that's how I was watching with my parents, and that's how I discovered Abbott and Costello. And then I think they bought me a tape, a Who's on First tape, and I got to see them do a live recording of them doing the Who's on First gag and all that, or the skit or number, whatever you call it.
That's awesome.
And so that's how I discovered them. And I saw some of the movies, Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, which I didn't realize it because I didn't see. What's funny is I didn't realize that was Bela Lugosi. I didn't realize he's the Dracula. I mean, he's the Dracula.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Yeah, that's all
So,
right.
so yeah. So sorry to interrupt you about Abbott and Costello, but that's what I was thinking when I was thinking, radio and all that. So,
No, that's all right.
so
Yeah.
yeah, because I know Lucille Ball did a lot of our radio stuff too.
Yes. Yep. She actually started out with she was one of the girls on Three Stooges, believe it or not. She's like one of the
Yeah, Three
extras.
Little Pigskins, the football one,
Yeah.
the one where they
Yeah.
pretend to be amateur. I forget what they call them, amateur players,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they don't know how to play, and so the whole thing, the whole game was a racketeering job. So when they were screwing up the game for them, they thought they were doing it on purpose when they actually didn't know how to play.
Yeah. Yeah. That was great. But it's amazing. And I like listening to it because you'll hear people because when I grew up in the early 80s, like late 70s, early 80s, when I was a kid, watch cartoons, you'd hear like Mel Blanc and all these other guys that did voices. Well, they started their careers back in the 1930s and 1940s. And so you can go and listen to these old shows and you can hear them, and it's like, oh, that's that guy, that's Mel Blanc. He's doing one of his voices again. It was great.
What about Clarence Nash? Clarence Ducky Nash.
Oh, the guy that
Donald
did
Duck.
Donald Duck. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Did he do that too? Like, I don't think anybody, I think when it comes to creating a character, I don't think anybody can top him. I don't think anybody can top Clarence Nash.
He did it so well. He can barely understand him, which is what they wanted to do. And you can listen to it he can go out there right now and find it. It's called the Mickey Mouse Theater of the Air. And it's from, they celebrate Mickey's birthday in 1935. And then they go along into a few years after that. And they do the introduction of the very first full feature length Snow White. They have her on the show, and it's pretty amazing.
Mickey Mouse. So was Mickey Mouse considered, his birthday was considered the Steamboat Willie cartoon? Was that considered, did they consider that his first?
Well, it was a weird birthday celebration. It happened in 1935, but it was his 7th birthday.
So 1928. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I guess that's when when he came. That must be Steamboat Willie.
Because I swear I heard that Mickey Mouse existed before Steamboat Willie. I forget why they made that, considered that his first.
Steamboat Willie was the first talkie. The first one was sound.
Okay.
But he did exist before that.
Okay. Because I remember learning, believe it or not, from a video game, Epic Mickey. If you ever played that one.
Yep.
Apparently there was another character named Oswald the Rabbit.
That was the one that
Mickey.
Yeah, that was the one that Disney or Paramount stole it from, or it was Universal, I think, stole it from Disney. They're like, thanks, this is ours now. And he's like, whoa, what?
Yeah. And so he created Mickey Mouse as a result of losing that. And then, of course, I think years later, Disney got Oswald back. And of course, then they incorporated Oswald as a character in Epic Mickey. So, which I don't know, have you played that one?
I played it a little bit. Yeah, it was pretty good.
It had a lot of. It made me think of Sunshine, Mario Sunshine, because you're instead of cleaning up the paint, you're pouring out, you're squirting out the paint and everything. So
yes, yeah.
I don't know. I thought it's a solid platform. I think I don't know if I know, or it originally came out for Wii. Actually, my buddy and I back in 2010 in New York at New York Comic Con, we actually went to that panel, and the director of the game, Warren Spector, was a dick to us. When we asked him a question, he's like, well, look at my resume. I'm like, screw you. I don't care if you directed Deus Ex or created Deus Ex. Nas, where are you? So, but I did finish Epic Mickey. I thought it was a solid game.
Yeah, I haven't finished it, but I did play it a bit, and it's like, I even bought the second one, I think, The Power of Two.
Yeah. So
there you go.
I got to ask. So what other Disney or Mickey? I'll not even go Disney. Mickey Mouse games. So I played 2 other games that came out. I played the remake of Castle of Illusion, which originally came out on Sega Genesis. I think that came out for PS3 or something. So I downloaded that, and then I tried to play a really hard NES game. It's called Mickey Mousecapade. Have you ever played that one?
Mickey
Or have you
Mouse
ever?
Club.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if I've heard of that one. I
that's
have
the
played
one.
Castle Illusion.
Yeah, that's the one where you start off in like a fun house. You play as Mickey, and Minnie follows you, and Mickey gets like Mickey. You have to avoid enemies, and then you eventually picks up a star, and you start throwing stars, and then it's chaotic. The game is chaotic. Like it's hard to avoid getting hit. And let's say if you jump over a pit, if Mickey makes it, but Minnie doesn't, because Minnie's following you, kind of like Link and Zelda and A Link to the Past
Oh,
when you
okay.
rescue her. It's that same mechanic. If Minnie falls, you die, basically.
Jeez.
If Minnie falls, if Mickey makes it, but Minnie falls, so you got to be very careful. You have to really time the jumps and everything. So
Mm-hmm.
but it's a tough one. It starts in a fun house. I think you fight the I don't remember, who do you fight in the. I don't know if do you fight the queen. I don't remember if you fight the evil queen or the. I don't remember. You start off in the fun house, then you're in the ocean, then you're in the woods, and then I think you're in the ship or something, and then I think you're in the castle, and it's tough. It's a tough game. I don't think I ever finished it. So.
Wow.
I do have it on the NES Mini, but I haven't had the nerve to play it again. I was like, oh, I can't beat this. I'm falling. I'm getting knocked over. No, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, why make it hard on yourself, eh? Why do you don't want misery? You want games to be fun.
So yeah, so much for me. So about you? Have you played any other Mickey Mouse games besides Castle of Illusion?
No, I can't say. Most of the time, well, obviously, because I'm older, any of those came out would have been like, oh, that's for kids. That's a kid's game. That's a kid's game. I'm not going to bother with that. It's just the age that I am. I think I didn't get into doing a lot of it.
So
Anything like that.
speaking of age, or years of wisdom, because nice pop. I was curious, what was your first gaming console? How'd you start this gaming journey, if I may be so bold?
It wasn't mine, but I think I was over at my aunt's house and they had an Intellivision. And I'm like, what's that? And they plugged it in, and I think it was Astro Smash. And I started playing that, and that was a hella fun game. Just shooting all the asteroids coming down at you. And the more you got up, the screen would change color, more points you got. You'd have guided missiles coming at you. You'd have to try to avoid them. And yeah, it was just that was the first game that I can recall. And then my parents eventually they bought an Atari, so we got to have an Atari in the house and play that.
The 2600.
It was a 2600, but I think it was like the slim down version. And we played that and we had like Asteroids and Centipede and Pac-Man and all those fun. Defender was a good one. I always like playing that one because you're trying to shoot ships that are abducting your people and make sure they land safely without going splat on the. Yeah, there you go. There's Astro Smash
television.
Yep, that's all the right. One. And so when you get up to, I think, 2,000 points, the screen will change color, and then 5,000 points, and then 10,000 points, and then you'll have different background colors.
I played something like this with a similar mechanic. So yeah. I mean, yeah, this looks a lot of fun. So what happens if the asteroids hit the ground? Like,
So your points will go up as you're hitting them, but when they hit the ground, your points go down.
And what happens if your points go all the way down? Do you like lose?
I'm not sure
or something.
If your points go to 0, maybe you lose a ship, but you're usually good enough. You can keep that score up so you don't lose a lot of points, and you can get yourself so you have like 12 extra ships or lots of extras if you can keep up the frantic pace.
Oh, okay. I swear I played a game similar to this. I don't know if this was I don't know if I was playing Asteroids exactly, but I played.
There you go.
Here we go. Here, change the color. Oof.
1,000 points, it changes to blue, and then the next one will be like turquoise or something like that.
Yeah, everything is. Yeah, this is very slow. So, I think it's probably my connection. So, all right. So, did you? Okay. So 2600. So, Did you get the NES when it came out? Because I know NES came out in '85, and I was barely I was still in diapers when it came
Yeah.
out. So
So
I don't remember when it came out.
my parents bought us the NES. I can't remember if it was 85 or 86, but they bought it for us, and they bought the game I think they bought with it was, well, obviously I think Mario came with it, Mario and Duck Hunt. And then they bought us Mega Man 3.
Mega
And
Man
so that
3.
was, yeah.
Okay,
So
I know
we,
Mega Man 3 came out. Mega Man 3 came out a little bit later
okay, well, Mega
in
Man 3,
1990. So
okay, well, I remember getting that one, maybe been for Christmas then, but we did get the NES with Duck Hunt and Mario Brothers and Simon's Quest. I think that was another one of the ones we got. So yeah, we skipped Castlevania and went right to Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest.
Castlevania 2, huh? Dempsey would love you.
Oh yeah.
That's one of his favorite games. I've never played Simon's Quest. I've just heard that it's frustrating. I've watched Angry Video Game Nerds review of
Mm-hmm.
Simon's Quest, and how like there's one way to progress that there's no way to tell how to
Yeah.
do it.
Well, the
And so
translation is terrible.
yes. So so I did play the original. So I didn't even know about, when I was growing up, I didn't know about Castlevania. I don't think I knew about it until the Wii. Oh, when I got the Wii and they had the virtual console. And
Yeah.
my friends talked about Castlevania, and that's how I came to download or I bought the first one for $5, because every NES game on the Wii was $5. So, yeah, so I bought that, I played it, and then I got up to level 5. And level 5, no matter what you do, if you get hit 4 times, you are dead. And let's just say level 5 is fairly long, and there are quite a bit of sinusoidally moving Medusa heads.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the same time, you have the knights throwing axes in one direction and in a lower direction, and then after that, you're going through a path, and you're fighting. You're doing 2 things at once, and then you get to death, and then you're like, I barely have any health left. I have like maybe 1 hit left, and I'm done. And so it took me a long time to beat the first Castlevania. Just getting through level 5 was just wild for me.
Sounds like it.
And then you get to level 6. Level 6 is basically Dracula. And so if you get game over, it's not a level. You just go up the stairs, go fight Dracula twice, and that's it.
Nice.
So
yeah, if you don't want to be what is it, discouraged by Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest, you can always play Simon's Quest Redacted, which has what some fans have done. They have redone all the clues so they're more clear. You know exactly what people are saying. They're not so obscure, and the cycle between day and night is quicker. The transition, it goes a lot quicker, and it's just a lot of quality of life improvements that they've done to make it a little better for everyone. And I played that actually on my game stream not too long ago. I think it was for October to be with the theme of Halloween and all that.
this is what I'm talking about right here.
Yeah.
See, yeah. This is where it gets tough.
Yeah.
So just watching this now is going to help me fight death. And then you have death right here. And then death is throwing stuff at you at the same time. I'm like, how do I evade this? And he's just throwing stuff at him. So, okay. So obviously this is not what I was, this doesn't represent my, my frustration, because he's just throwing holy water at him. So, but yeah, I was going to say, did you see the Castlevania show at all?
The show on
Yeah.
Netflix?
Yeah.
I don't watch Netflix, so No.
You don't watch Netflix at all?
Nope. Nope. I don't have it. I refuse to subscribe to it. I am of the belief that eventually all these streaming services will crumble under their own weight because people are going to wise up and say to them that we don't want to pay for 9 different streaming services to watch these shows. It's just going to get like cable.
Do you still have cable?
I have satellite dish, and that's it.
Satellite dish? Okay.
Yep.
What about physical media? Do you still believe in physical media?
I'm a big proponent of physical media. I think that if you don't hold it in your hand, you don't own it. So I will always buy my, look at what you got going on. Yeah. I will always buy my physical media, DVD, Blu-ray, reel to reel if I need to, reel film, anything like that. It's necessary.
I got a question. I'm curious. I'm curious about your collection. Do you collect movies, shows, anime shows,
So yeah,
games?
Yes. So I'm a big retro game collector. I do have a collection. I have a couple of in television games. I have some like NES, SNES. What was that? N64, GameCube, Wii U, Switch, and then I started in on the PlayStation ones, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and then a couple of handhelds, PSP, PS Vita.
PSP.
Nintendo DS. Yeah. I'm just trying to think.
I probably should have kept a lot of those. My brother has my N64. I still have my GameCube. I still have some GameCube games. I don't have them all. Probably should have kept all of them now that I think about it, because those games are getting more and more valuable. I still have some Wii. All my Wii U stuff I got rid of for my Switch, because everything that came out on the Wii U got ported. Almost everything, not everything, but almost everything got ported to the Switch. I'm still waiting for them to port Zelda, Wind Waker, and Twilight Princess, which I'm surprised they still haven't done yet. So if you want to play those, you have to take out your Wii U. I haven't even touched the Wii U since the Switch came out, so I don't even know. I haven't even checked if that controller even works. Because if that controller, that pad controller goes, are they going to replace it? How are you going to replace it?
Yep, that's it.
So, but yeah, like NES and Super Nintendo, those systems completely they broke. Like my N64 still works, but Super Nintendo and my original Super Nintendo, my original NES, my original Sega Genesis, they broke, and I ended up getting rid of those. I ended up getting rid of the games or selling them off or something. So, and so I was like, when the when the Virtual Console came out, I was relieved that I could play an NES game, and I could, by just turning it on and playing it right away, because do you know how rare that was? I mean, I've said this on so many streams, but like, I could never get an NES game to work right away, ever. It was either when you put the cartridge in the system, the screen is either white, or the screen hiccups. You see some gray, then white, then white, gray, then white. So you either blow into the cartridge, or what my dad used to do, and I used to do it too. I would just kind of wiggle it. Like I would press down the cartridge if it was locked in, and I would just kind of wiggle it around and then just put it back in. I don't know why that worked, but it would work sometimes. Sometimes I'd have to take it out, maybe blow into the console and blow into the cartridge in order to get it to work. Yeah. Sometimes it did it, sometimes it did not. I still don't understand it.
It was just that silly design. They didn't want to make the NES to look like a game console. They wanted it to look like something that you would use as almost like a VCR, where you slide the tape in and push it down. That's what they wanted to do. So that comes with its own problems with the pin making contact with the cartridge and all that. Whereas the top loader, I don't think you have that any kind of problem like that. But that was their whole reasoning behind it. They didn't want it to look like a game console. They wanted it to look like just one of your appliances.
That's interesting.
Yep.
I didn't know that. Did now when it came to later systems, I didn't. There was like NES, so many problems getting it to work, but then the later consoles, I didn't have nearly as much of a headache. I could put the Super Nintendo game in most 90% of the time and would work right away. I didn't have sometimes it would, sometimes it didn't work, but most of the time it did. So I'm grateful that's the reason why I still think 16-bit. I must have played those games more often than I played the 8-bit stuff. So I had the NES and I had the Super Nintendo. I used to play them at the same time because I got the Nintendo, the NES much later. I got it in like '89. That's when they were really, it was all over the TV, to the point where even my parents, who are normies, saw, and they decided to buy it. And like you, my console came with Mario and Duck Hunt. And I said this on another stream. I literally thought it was another type of cartoon, because the first thing I ever was a fan of was watching, those old Looney Tunes, those old Donald Duck cartoons. That was the very first thing I was ever, really a fan of. And it was one that I was able to, I don't know, at the age of 2 or 3, I was able to work the VCR, because every morning I had to have my Donald Duck fix. I'm not joking. We had one of the Donald Duck tapes. It was like three shorts. 3 shorts were on it, so like 20 minutes long. I put it in every morning, watch it. And so I always thought like Mario and stuff was a different type of cartoon, but you had a controller this time. And I was like, oh, like the controller for the TV, right? Because even as a kid, now I wasn't alive in the 70s, but even in the 80s, my dad would tell me, hey, go grab me the controller as a little kid. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I can actually remember one of the first VCRs we had. It had a wired controller, like a wired remote control for it. So it would plug in the front of the VCR, and you could push play, rewind, all that stuff. So it was pretty neat.
So so you have a massive collection of games. So I'm curious what your Super Nintendo collection is.
Let me see. I actually I have it all on this game tracker that I inputted on here. Where is it here? There we go.
You have like an elaborate setup, nice shelf, maybe have glass cases, kind of like AC's room. AC's
Well, I do want to get it like that. And for those of you that don't know, I am in the process of moving. I'm going to be moving this month from where I am now to another town, and it's about 40 minutes away. So yeah, everything right now is in boxes. Like the house is getting packed up. The whole house is being packed up as we speak. And on the Saturday, the 22nd, that's when the moving company will come in and pick up everything and take it to our new place.
Oh, okay. Cool. All right. So I'm imagining Pops' place up in the mountains, because you're in mountain time. So I'm assuming you're up in the mountains. Probably might not be the case, but hey, and just a house full of boxes. And when you open one of the boxes, all of a sudden there's a jump scare. There's a jump scare. There's like a Jack in the Box waiting for you, or something like that. Reason why that came to mind was because I was visiting a friend in Texas last weekend, and I brought a whole bunch of games. And one of the games that I brought, or showed him and his kids, was Luigi's Mansion. And the beginning of the game, you're going through the room, and every drawer, every cabinet has like a Jack in the Box that scares poor Luigi right here. So I haven't been this one. I just haven't had the time to. But have you ever played any Luigi Mansions at all?
Yes, actually, I have. I have the first one for the GameCube. I bought the second one for the 3DS, and I have the third one as well. But it's just a matter of getting to it.
Yeah, I really did enjoy the first one. I bought so the GameCube. GameCube has a special place in my heart, even though I didn't play it nearly as much because it came out when I was ending high school, going into college. But the GameCube was the first system that I bought with my own money, and I felt like I felt like it was weird was my folks were telling me save your money, save your money, save your money, don't spend it, don't spend it. And I was telling myself, well, I have my own money now. I have access to my account. Asked myself, what's stopping me from getting the system? Nothing. So I felt like I was doing something naughty by just without even asking, just going to Best Buy and asking and buying the GameCube, because when I bought the GameCube, Mario Sunshine just came out, and Sunshine they had Mario Sunshine bundled with the GameCube. So I bought that. I think that was $300, and then I bought Luigi's Mansion with it because it's Luigi. It's part of the Mario series.
Yeah,
I'll play that too. And so I felt like I was doing something naughty. I don't know. I still feel that chill to this day. That was like, because I was 17. I think I was 17 when that came out. I was working. I was doing dishwashing and serving food at a nursing home. So I was making decent money working weekends and some weekdays and all that. So yeah, I was able to save a decent amount of money, and and nice. I bought it. So the thing is, I just didn't. A lot of games on the GameCube just flew past me. Like, I still haven't played. I bought it just recently, but I have never played Paper Mario, the 1,000-Year Door, for instance. Which is a lot of people's favorite Mario RPG game. It's not mine, but yeah. I'm still old school Mario RPG. I don't know about you.
Well, I did play Paper Mario for the N64 and beat it, and then I played 1,000-Year Door and I beat that too. And then I got the Origami King for the Switch, and I beat that too.
I didn't play. I forgot about that one. Yeah, I forgot. I didn't get that one, Origami King. I did play the Wii U one.
Oh, what was that? Something
Color Splash. It's called Color Splash.
There you go.
Yeah. So there was more Mario Sunshine type cleaning or something. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I played. So I played Super Mario RPG. Played Paper Mario N64. That came out. What's weird was I was like 15 or 16 when I played that one. I felt like I was too old for that game, for Paper Mario. Yeah, it's weird. The same when I played Yoshi's Story, when that came out on N64. Now that came out in 97, so I think I was in 6th or 7th grade. I felt like I was too old for that game then. Compared to Yoshi's Island a couple years before that, 95, when I turned 11. That game, even though you had the baby Mario, wah, 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 really loud, to the point where my parents told me to turn the game off because they were trying to sleep one night. I'm not just, even though you had the pastels, very childish, art design, especially the backgrounds and all that, with crayon and all that. The game was tough. The game wasn't easy at points. So the difficulty kind of helped make me feel like I wasn't for little kids. So
yeah. I mean, talking about your first console, I remember I pre-ordered the N64 when it was coming out, and got it day one, and went home and played Super Mario 64, and that was crazy.
What was was Mario 64 your first 3D gaming experience, or did you play some earlier 3D games on like the PC?
Yeah, so even before I got the N64, we had computers at our house, a 386 DX25, and you listened to the MIDI songs and you tried to play what games you could on that. Like I think King's Quest V was like the first point and click adventure I did on the 386, and then I eventually scraped up enough money to buy my own 486 and started playing games on that. And like Wolfenstein 3D was probably the very first 3D game I played.
Now,
Uh,
did they just take like steal assets from Doom for that
no,
game, or was it
Doom,
was it
Doom came after, I believe. Wolfenstein was before Doom.
was it?
Doom, I believe it
Okay,
was.
all right. I
You
keep
guys
forgetting.
can, you guys in the chat can check that for me, but I'm pretty sure Wolfenstein came first.
Okay. All right. So I didn't have a PC, and so I didn't play any of those games. So, well, actually, I take that back. I didn't. We didn't have a PC, but my neighbor used to take me and her son to school each day,
Yep.
and they did have a PC, and they had this game called Descent. I don't know if you ever heard
Oh
of this
yes.
game.
Yep. You
They had
betcha.
this game called Descent, and I think that was the first time I ever saw a 3D game where you're piloting like this little craft or this drone or something, and you're going in you're going in 3D space, like you're going up, you're
Yep.
going there.
Yep.
It blew my mind. It blew my mind. I didn't play it, but watching that game just blew my mind like crazy. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, I remember that
I
too.
kind of want to go down memory lane. But yeah, this was like 1995, I think.
Yeah, that's when I was deep into the PC. Like I've had a PC ever since like 1993, I think. So, um, I remember typing DOS commands and such to play games. Before Windows 95 came out, it was Windows 3.1 and DOS 6, and you'd have to make sure you had enough conventional memory to even run the game.
Man, look at this. Look how old this is.
Yeah, there you go. That's Descent, all right.
Yep. I was just like, whoa. I'm like, whoa, what is this? Just I don't know. This just completely blew my mind because I was still doing 2D at that time. I mean, like I said, I was still playing games like Yoshi's Island. I was still playing games like Donkey Kong Country. I was still playing platformers, 2D platformers. So seeing something like this was just wild for me. So I mean, so this was my first. Like I didn't play this, but this is something I witnessed. So seeing this, and then after this, then Mario 60, then the N64 came out, and then I started playing 3D. And I'll be honest, it took me a while to get used to the 3D. I had like probably the worst depth perception. Like the one thing I couldn't had a hard time adapting to was depth perception. So I
Okay.
kept bumping into Goombas. I kept falling off the platforms, and then the fact that Mario now had a voice, Charles Martinet's voice, and he's like when he falls, or whoa, like that. It's just
Yeah.
I couldn't stop laughing. I couldn't stop laughing, and I'm like, I think I was 12. I think I was 12 when I first played it. So I considered like the 3D era like my time or beginning of adolescence for me. N64 was beginning of adolescence for me. So Super Nintendo, NES were my childhood, and then
Right. There you go. That's the next step
four
for you.
was adolescence, and then GameCube, Wii, and everything. Well, GameCube was still kind of still young adult, and then Wii and everything after that was adult and everything. So it's weird how I can divide like the console generations based on where I was at when I was a kid, or where I was at when I was younger. So I don't know. To me, 3D was kind of me maturing. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird like that. It's weird how that to witness how the gaming changed.
Yep.
And as a kid, and I know you were older. I mean, I think you said you were in your 20s in the 90s. So
Yeah. I just graduated high school in 91. So I was
okay.
18 in 1991.
So you graduated, and then the Super Nintendo came out.
Yep. Yep. Pretty much.
So what did you think of like the transition between Nintendo and Super Nintendo?
So it was like, it was amazing because more colors, better music, uh, smoother. Things moved a lot smoother. That mode 7 they had where they could, move the backgrounds around and have that doing its thing and it was just wow. This the NES can't do this. This machine they've brought out is the next. This is the next generation, and I can't wait to see what games come out. And you played Pilot Wings and any of those other, well, obviously Super Mario World, and yeah, Pilot Wings, and then we were obviously in Canada, we're into hockey, so we'd try to get a lot of the hockey games to play, and those were fun. More Castlevania games.
Yeah, Konami. So the one game that my dad runs, I wasn't big into sports games, but my dad used to run sports games for the NES back in the day. Konami's Blades of Steel was the one that my dad always rented. Have you ever played that one?
Blades of Steel for the Super Nintendo? Or
no,
just regular
Nintendo NES.
Yeah. Because I remember the commentary, makes the pass, he scores. And it was just like, oh, this is awesome.
Yep. So yeah, I remember saying that. I tried to play it. I had no idea how to play it. Like, what character do I play as? Because you're what player do I play as? Because there's a whole team of players to play as. I was like, what? It confused me. So I was like, okay, I'm not playing this. I have no idea what I'm doing. I think even to this day, if I try to play a sports game, I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea what I'm doing either. So
steep learning curve.
There was actually one sport game I did play, and it just came out on the Switch Online for the Game Boy. The Game Boy Baseball, and they actually had Mario on the cover.
Okay.
And yeah, it was easy because all you had to do was, you were either the pitcher or you were the batter. That was it. The problem is, whenever I played the computer always beat me. The computer always hit home runs. I could never hit a home run, but the computer always hit home runs on me. Jerk.
Cheating.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that was, I think that was probably the one. And then years later, Wii Sports. I actually really enjoyed Wii Sports. When the Wii came out, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to play. Especially doing the boxing, I forgot boxing, Punch Out. That's another game I used to play quite a bit.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I think we made it to Mike Tyson maybe once or twice, but was he tough.
Yeah. I never played that one. I played Punch Out featuring Mr. Dream.
Oh, okay.
Because I think we might have rented Mike Tyson's Punch Out once, but then whenever they re-released it, I guess because of how expensive Mike Tyson is,
Yeah. Yeah.
Mr. Dream was cheaper.
Yes.
Mr. Dream was much cheaper. So, but yeah, that's the only one. I've never played any of the other ones. I know there was Super Punch Out. I think there was Punch Out for the Wii. I never played any of those. I only played the first one.
I mean, yeah, it's for their Super Punch Out. I've played that a little bit, but more recently I've played
Is it
that.
different? How is it different? Is it any different? Like, is it easier? Is it harder than the NES?
You are like sort of right behind the fighter. You're not like pulled back like in the original.
Because I think in the original you look like it's like top down almost.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, you're pulled back further. The camera's pulled back. This one you're sort of right behind the fighter, and it's kind of like a wireframe fighter. So it's you see more of your opponent. It's a lot tougher too, I think.
I'm going to pull this up really quickly, just just to give myself and the viewer an idea. Let's see. Yeah. Oh my gosh, you're right. You are right behind you. The camera is right behind him. Oh, stupid ad! Come on. Wow. Okay, because I have this on the Super Nintendo Mini. I think this is also on the Switch Online.
Okay.
I just never got around to playing this.
Okay, he's not wireframe. He's see-through, so that's a bit of a difference.
I like how the Nintendo brand is the main supporter of this boxing match and all that. So, but yeah, is there anything? So we're gonna go to commercial break. Is there any final thoughts you want to say before we go to commercial break?
No, just hey, play those retro games, everybody. Don't be lured away by fancy looking graphics on these new games. They have no heart, no soul. play the old stuff. It's a lot more fun, and you got to keep the retro gaming alive. They were always so good.
For a second, I thought you were possessed by Matt Cave for a second. So, because that's what he always says. So, but yeah, everybody. So yeah, we'll be right back after these. Well, I wouldn't say commercial messages, but well, I'm promoting myself, and I may promote a certain Pops thing too. Not Pops. Pops is another awesome YouTube content creator. So, yeah. All right, but here, have fun, everybody.
Oh, hey there everybody. How are you? Well, I don't always play video games, but when I do, I make sure to safely make a safety save in a safe environment. And if you don't know how to make a safety save, well then make sure you check out Popculture Mechanics, 9 a.m. Mountain Time and 10 a.m. Central on Saturday mornings, where you can learn how to make a safety save that you might be so excited you could dance if you wanna. So, come on and check out Popculture Mechanics on Saturday mornings. Going to see you there. Bye.
Finally! Yes! Whew! My God!
I really like that one. That's why I included it.
The exasperation.
Yep. I have to play. I haven't played the Shantae. I've been meaning to play those. I know those are some worthy Metroidvanias, if I remember correctly.
They are good. I liked it. I liked the one I played. It was fun.
Is it like Metroid, or is it more like Link's or Adventure of Link?
Yeah, I'd say it's more like Adventure of Link, and
Okay.
Because it's at least you can find your way around fairly easily. You don't have to draw yourself a map or anything.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, so I figure for the this final half of the stream, I think we talk about talk about the one thing that you are a big fan of, that I like too, anime. So I got a question for you. What I know there were a few things you covered on your channel, but what was your earliest exposure to anime? Like, did you see like Battle of the Planets? I know you watched Robotech when it came out, but did you see like Battle of the Planets before that, or Star Blazers, or Gundam?
Yeah, so you pretty much hit the nail on the head right there. In about 1979, I watched Star Blazers. I happened upon it one morning as I was flipping through the channels, and there was this ship with a big gun in the front of it, and it was shooting down a sun. And I'm just like, this is the most awesomest thing I have ever seen. I must watch more of this. And so I did. And it told me the story of the crew that has to travel to the planet Iskandar to grab the Cosmo Reverser machine to help save the Earth from radiation. And I'm like, and they got so much, they can only do it in a year. So it's like, there you go. That's where I got started with my interest in anime, even though I didn't know it was anime at the time.
Did you see the remake? I actually own the remake, but I still haven't watched it yet.
I own it. Yeah, I own it on Blu-ray as well. Me and Mrs. Mechanic, we watched that and we absolutely love it.
Is it better than the original?
So it's a tough comparison. I know some people say yes, but the fact is the original had hand-drawn cells, whereas this has CGI. So it's an unfair comparison, I think. Yes, it's crisp, clean, CGI and all that. I like how they've added a few more characters, and they've sort of fleshed out the story a little more in some parts. And but yeah, the original looks like Leiji Matsumoto did it in the manga. Right, it's still got his drawing style, whereas the updated one, character designs are by some other fella, and I'm not saying they're bad. They look really damn good.
I think Nishitaka was the other guy besides Matsumoto who was responsible. I think they got into like a bit of a fight over the rights of the original show, if I remember correctly.
It got ugly. Yep, it sure did.
What's funny was I always thought, and I looked it up and I was wrong. It wasn't until season 2, but I always thought Nobuo Ishiguro directed the first season of Yamato, but but it wasn't. It was Matsumoto. He didn't. I think he directed season 2, and of course, I'm sure you know who Ishiguro is. He directed Macross.
Yeah, there you go. So another great show that people should get exposed to is Super Dimensional Fortress Macross. If you can find it, watch it, because it is up there with Gundam.
I was disappointed that they released it as Robotech instead of original anime. Instead of the original anime, which is believe it or not, I think my buddy back in the day, back 2000s, I think Macross came on DVD, and I was able to see the original Japanese version. Instead of Rick Hunter, you have Hikaru and Minmay and all those characters from Macross. So I didn't see Robotech. I actually saw Macross, the original Macross, as it was in 1982 and all that. So
yeah, and there's a reasoning that they made Robotech and they didn't just call it Macross, because for American television you need 65 episodes for syndication, and Macross only has 36. So he took Macross, Super Dimensional Fortress Cavalry Southern Cross, and Genesis Climber Mospeada, crammed them all together. This is Carl Masek that did this. He rewrote the story to fit them, all three of them together, because they sort of look similar, and that's how we got Robotech out of it.
I did see Mospeada. In isolation. I still have not seen Southern Cross. I think Southern Cross is the second arc, and it must be the third arc in Robotech.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I still haven't seen Southern Cross, so I have no idea what goes on in that one. But yeah, it's interesting how they put them together, even though they have literally nothing to do with each other. But Macross, the original, I've only seen Macross. I saw Macross Zero, which was boring. I didn't really care for it.
The
prequel.
Yep.
I like Macross Plus though. I saw the OVA and I saw the film, and both of them, you have to watch both in order to get like the full picture, because there's things you see in the OVA that you don't see in the movie, and there's things in the movie that you don't see in the OVA.
Right.
So
yeah,
it was directed
so well.
And it was directed, if you like Cowboy Bebop, it was directed by Watanabe, if I remember correctly. And the music was done by Yoko Kanno, who also did Bebop, Escaflowne, Turning Gundam, whole bunch of stuff. So, and it was a cool looking story. It's up there. I haven't seen anything else. I haven't seen Seven, Frontier, Delta, Macross 2, which I believe is non-canon.
It's non-canon, yeah. So Seven wasn't my favorite. It's just like, okay, you're gonna go out and play for the aliens and hope that they stop attacking you. Like, you're gonna play your guitar and hope that they stop attacking you. Okay.
I wonder if Star Trek Beyond stole that idea from. They're like, okay, we're gonna steal from other science fiction, because we think Star Trek is boring, so we're gonna fight alien fleets with the power of rock and roll, or the power of punk rock, like the power of the Beastie Boys, for instance. So I wonder if they stole that from like Macross 7 or something.
Probably. They are so they're so bankrupt in their ideas, they can't think of anything. My recommendation note there, everybody, is watch Macross Frontier. It is the top tier, even better than Delta. You'll enjoy it. It's got an excellent, solid story and great music, and yeah, it's got excellent animation.
Okay, there was one thing that I heard about. I don't know, I forget where I heard about it, but apparently, to kind of get rid of the main character. So apparently, so what's his name? Hikaru, Minmay, and a few others from the original series go off into a fleet, and then they're never heard from again, or something like that. I forget. Yep. Is that from a series, or is that from like a lore or something? I forget where that comes from.
So during the series, when you watch the other ones, like Macross 7 and Macross Frontier and all that, they had talk about losing contact with Mega Road 1, which is that's the ship that Hikaru, Minmay, and Misa, they all went off together on that one. And if you watch Flashback 2012, I think that has some unused film, and they all sort of spliced it together as a music video, but it sort of tells the story of them leaving Earth. So that's one you can watch. If it's not very long, but it's kind of a good send off for them.
Okay, so I'm taking it they did that just so that they wouldn't bring those characters back or something, or to give a reason for that or something. So are they dead, or
I'm
is it just unknown? They just wanted to leave it unknown or something.
I don't know what their reasoning was behind that, not bringing them back, because I know a lot of fans would probably like to see that. It's the 40th anniversary of Macross, so I'm hoping everybody I'm hoping they'll do something for to celebrate that. Yeah, and DJ Ronnie G brings up the good point. The voice actor for Hikaru sort of self-deleted him, so
Oh, okay.
you can't bring him back anymore unless you use a different voice actor.
I mean, there have been times where that has been done, like the voice of Bright Noah from Mobile Suit Gundam passed away from lung cancer, I believe. They ended up finding someone else to voice him for the Zeta Gundam compilation trilogy that came out like 20 years after the show came out, which is funny. The creator of Gundam, Tomino, actually came here to Chicago to promote it. He went to they were doing at Columbia College. They did he did like a panel, and he had this I back then I didn't know what woke was, but he had this woke Japanese culture professor there as part of the panel, and he somehow pissed her off by being misogynistic or just ignoring her because he's a bit of a dick. I mean, everyone who knows who Yoshiyuki Tomino is, he's a bit of a dick, especially the way he answers questions. But then again, you have to understand that they're Gundam fans that are asking him questions, and they ask like the dumbest questions.
Mm-hmm.
Like what mobile suit will be built after this, or what happened? Does this character marry this character? He's like, I don't know. I don't care. I hate anime. I hate this. I kill characters off because I hate my life, or I hate my job, but I keep doing it anyways. That's Tomino.
Man, oh man.
I don't know anything about Kawamori. I know Kawamori was a big Gundam fan. Like, I know one thing I do know about Kawamori is the writer, creator of Across. I do know that he was part of a Gundam fan club in college when Mobile Suit Gundam came out, and because of that, he got really interested in mecha, and was able to get himself into animation, get into the industry, and then of course helped create Across.
Yeah, and I don't know if anybody else knows, but I think he came over to one of the U.S. air bases and saw the F-14 Tomcat and was like, "Hey, that's a good design for a mecha," and he drew that up and turned it into the Valkyrie.
The Valkyrie, the Valkyrie, those the planes that turn into the mechs and all that. Is that so? Like what Hikaru pilots, what Roy Fokker. Before there was Meet the Parents, there was Roy Fokker and
that's right,
Macross. And well, I mean, one thing I'll never forget, and I know you know where I'm getting at, Roy. So there's a couple of scenes with Roy that I'll never forget. So there's a point where Hikaru and Minmay are together. They're together. They're trapped somewhere by themselves. And the first thing he asked, instead of asking him if he's okay, he asked him, "Did you guys do it?" Like, no. Like, what's the matter with you? What's the matter with you?
Yeah. He's like, you're trapped alone with her for 2 weeks. What'd you do?
Nothing. And he's like, what's the matter? What's the matter with you? So that scene, and then there was his final episode, and I think what's her name, the one he was sleeping with, was making a salad, and he's like, "Hey, I've come to join you." He sits on the couch. And then he just slouches over. I was like, oh my gosh. They did it. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, they killed him off. Yep.
I guess because, the mentor character,
Yeah.
Which I think is typical and, I think appropriate for most things. A lot of people see it coming. I hate it when it's the other way around, where they have a mentor character survives and the novice dies or something. They've been doing that recently. I've been seeing that more and more with things. Like for instance, there's a movie called The King's Man. You ever hear of that? It's part of the those Kingsman movies. I don't know if you've seen those.
Yep. I can't remember if I've seen that one, but I have
It,
watched
it was
Kingsman.
it was the prequels, the third one, the one that takes place during World War II, I think, or World War
Okay, I
One,
don't think I've seen that yet. I've seen
during
the
the Great
first
War.
two, but not that one.
I saw that one and it got me so upset because of what I just said. And I was just like, why did they do this? Like, I don't know, but that's just me.
Subvert your expectations.
Yeah. So yeah, like, yeah, it got me so upset. But I'll just say that. So, but the what was I going to say? Um, but yeah, Macross, yeah, that part of the story was crazy, and the whole show was just like captivating from start to finish. Like the battles were so well done. It was like watching Star Wars in a way. It was like the bad guys were terrifying. You know, Zentradi, they're giants. You know, and then of course all of a sudden they had this magic. They I guess they hired Rick Moranis to create a shrinking machine. So now all the Zentradi can shrink to human size.
Yes. Yeah, that was something too. Yeah, it's like, hey, look, these guys can survive in space without any spacesuits. They are super strong. You need those mechs to even be on a level playing field with them. But even then, it's not guaranteed you're going to win.
Yeah, and the other thing that took me by surprise was that honestly, the show is split into like two parts. Actually, there's the first part, the space opera part. You know, that pretty much ends at episode 27, if I remember correctly, and then the rest of the show is kind of like the fallout or the results of that, basically.
Yeah, the aftermath. What I had read in a magazine was that originally it was 26 episodes, and then everybody was like, "Hey, we like this. We want more." And the production studio was like, "Okay, we'll make 10 more episodes," and they did, and that was what that was the result.
Yeah, and okay, that's interesting. I didn't that I did not know. But yeah, so the bad guys that survived, well, they didn't survive that time, and then I think you get to into the thick of it with that love triangle. You know,
Yes,
what's
it
her
comes
name
to a head.
actually likes him, but he
Yep.
likes her, but
Yep.
likes the pop star, but the pop star doesn't know what she likes. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you nailed it. Every Macross show will have a love triangle. So just be aware if you're going
And
to
a
watch
pop
Macross.
star or music, or in the
An
case
idol
of
singer,
Macross
yep.
7,
Yep.
in the case of Macross 7, a band.
A band, yep. Firebomber, yep.
Come on, power of music, everybody. Takes
Yep.
down evil.
Although Macross 7, for all the crap I give it, it did have banger music. When you're listening to the band play, they got some good tunes.
Okay, I'll have to watch it. I've heard like mixed things about Macross 7, so I never really. I might have watched one episode and it just didn't drag me. So, or not drag me, pull me, I guess, into the show. Yep. So I don't know. At some point I'll have to give it another chance. So, but do you collect any? So all the stuff on the top right here is all anime Blu-rays and.
Wow, that's all right. Yes, I do. I do the One Piece collection.
So I got right or not?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, you said One Piece. I got you. That was Yu Yu Hakusho. Sorry.
No, One Piece. I'm up to collection number 33, I think. Waiting for number 34 to come out.
I don't want to. I have not wanted to commit to Bleach, the big three: Bleach, Naruto, or One Piece, because of the fact that they're still going. Even now it's Boruto.
Yes.
And I don't know if Bleach concluded, but I know Bleach ended, and then the manga I think ended, and I think they came out with, like Dempsey would know. They came out with like I don't know if like a final season or something.
Yeah, the 1,000 Year Blood War is what they're doing, and that should wrap it up, I think, for Bleach.
Because I know they did something similar with Inuyasha, which is another show I still have not gotten around to watching, which was so popular when I first got into anime. They had 150 episodes, then the show ended, and then the first what do you call it? Then they came out with, what was it called? The Final Cut. Inuyasha, the Final Cut.
Oh, okay. I haven't heard
and
about
that
the
was
final.
supposed to, yeah, because Inuyasha manga ended, and so they kind of closed that out with coming out with the final season like a few years after the last episode of the main series ended. So yeah, it's weird. It's weird how all this works. But what was I going to say? Is there any any retro anime besides? I mean, we talked about Macross. Is there anything else that you, especially from like this maybe 70s or 80s, that you like?
Oh yeah, lots. Cutie Honey by Go Nagai. That's a classic anime to watch. Is Cutie Honey from the 70s. I just finished the one from the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
It was only 8 episodes, so that's good. That was a short one. The original, let me see here. It was pretty sure because I watched the whole thing. It was 25 episodes. So yeah, there's Cutie Honey. That's a good one. Just trying to see what I've watched here.
Have you ever seen any mecha from the 80s? I mean, I know Gundam, it was pretty big. Have you seen any of the Gundams? Original Gundam, Zeta Gundam?
Yeah. What did I watch? The one I've watched, it was because it was on television, was Gundam Wing.
Okay.
And then Gundam Seed.
Okay.
And then I watched Iron Blooded Orphans.
Okay, I've watched 8 episodes of that. That's the one I haven't finished. So you haven't seen any of the original saga that started with the original show?
No, I haven't gotten into any of that. What was it? 008, 0080 or 0079?
Yeah, 0079. Well,
yeah.
It's called Mobile Suit Gundam, but some other, it's also called 0079.
Okay.
That Zeta Gundam, Gundam Double Zeta, and then that closes out with the movie called Char's Counterattack.
Okay. I've heard of that before. I haven't watched it, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, so the main character, the protagonist, and the second, I don't know if you consider Char as in Char's Counterattack, he's an antagonist. And I guess you could say he's an antagonist in the original Gundam as well, because he's always fighting our hero. But yeah, so the first series has a major war, it's called the 1 Year War, and the 1 Year War basically wipes out half of humanity. And it's basically people on Earth versus people in space, the Zeons, basically.
Okay.
And there's a lot of atrocities. There's a high body count. This was one of the earliest shows that Tomino did, and I wouldn't say this was Kill 'Em All Tomino, because Tomino was known for killing all his characters off. It wasn't really that case with the original Gundam, but the second show, Zeta Gundam, yeah.
Okay.
The second show, the first show ends with the Zeons losing, the Earth Federation winning, and so the years go by, and the Zeons are like the Nazis. They're still they're still on the loose. There's a remnant of them, and they're still on the loose, and they're being hunted by a special forces branch of the Earth Federation. In that case, they're called the Titans. And in some ways, the Titans have done atrocities to space colonists that might even be worse than the Zeons. And so they end up being the villains of the second show. And they basically do something bad to the main character's family in the second show. So the second show has a different protagonist, but characters from Mobile Suit Gundam have a supporting role. So there's a connection there. And of course, the character Char Aznavour is kind of like the mentor of the new protagonist. So he doesn't have that same history that the main character Amuro had in the original show. So it's interesting to see where that goes. And then let's just say Zeta Gundam ends on a major cliffhanger. So they had the villains, the Titans, but then later in that show they introduce a third faction, the remnants of Zeon, finally make their appearance. So let's just say they dispatch the Titans and Zeta, and then Double Zeta begins, and then the villain, the secondary villain in the second half of the show becomes the villain in the new show Double Zeta. And what's weird is you go from something very tragic and very dark to something very light and comedic at first in Double Zeta, but then but as the show goes on, it gets dark again, but not to the same level as Zeta was. And then you got, and so so originally they were going to try and tie up, certain things, like certain things were unanswered in Double Zeta. Well, they eventually get answered in the final movie, Char's Counterattack. And Char's Counterattack is basically one last ditch effort, one final battle between the hero and villain of the first show, many years later. And let's just say the ending is unforgettable and ambiguous at the same time. But it's such a spectacle. And like the twist at the end of that movie, it was something that it took me years to figure out, because I didn't quite understand. My friend had to explain it to me, like the motivations of the villain.
Okay.
And for a character like Char Aznavour, who is he's like the Darth Vader, Mr. Spock. Like, he's very important in the pop culture of Japan. Like, if you dress up in the Char Aznavour outfit, everybody will be able to recognize you. Everybody knows her. It's kind of like you dressing up as Darth Vader. And everybody knows, who the character is. Well, it's kind of like that too.
Okay.
So, but yeah, that's how big, and that's just the first saga. And then they kept making more and more and more Gundam after that, and more side stories within that same continuity. So, I highly recommend seeing the original saga at least. And then if you're interested, maybe watch more Gundam.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think definitely got to add it to my list. I've got as anybody might know that follows me, is I'm on an Annie list, and I have a big list of shows that I've watched and want to watch and all that kind of stuff, planning. Another 70s show that was good was Lupin the Third. That's always good.
I got the first series from 1973.
Nice.
Lupin the Third.
Yeah, that's a good one. So is Gatchaman. Gatchaman is good. I've watched that entire series.
I watched it on I think I had it on I forget what was it, High Dive or something. I watched Gatchaman on. Gatchaman's really is. I mean, for a show that's 110 episodes and mostly episodic, Monster of the Day format.
Yeah, it's
actually a really solid show. Like, there's points where even though they're going to win at the end of the episode, or maybe not, there were times where they didn't win.
Yep.
And that's what made it compelling. That's what made the show compelling. And then there were points where the heroes were just fatigued. They were tired. And the leader just was like, we can't keep doing this crap. You can't expect us to get up and keep doing this stuff. And he gets into fights with the head of the order, the order that they work for. And it was great. And then you got, and of course you got your typical, James Bond type of villains, evil organization. You have the face of the organization, but then there's an evil, higher boss, who happens to be an alien and all that. Leader X, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Leader X. Yeah, very, very enjoyable watching that. And like you say, they don't pull any punches. People get shot. People are in explosions. They're not coming out of that alive. Like, there's no sugarcoating. This is how it is.
It's 1970s, and I mean the animation is very dated, but it was still very enjoyable. It was I thought the characters were compelling, and even the Monster of the Day format was. I could watch every episode and really get a kick out of it, like I said. So, have you seen the sequels like Gatchaman F or Gatchaman? I forget what the other one's called.
Crowds. Gatchaman Crowds, or no?
No, that's not related.
It's
that's a totally different show.
Okay, they are on my list.
There's Gatchaman F and there's Gatchaman something. There's like yeah. So like the leader X gets away at the end of Gatchaman, and then he comes back and gets a new human to head operations. So so he comes back, and then they defeat him, but he gets I think he gets mutated into another being, and then he becomes then in the third series. There's 3 series of Gatchaman.
Okay.
So it's like 200 something episodes altogether.
Yeah, gotta add it to the list.
I've only seen the first series. Which is like 110 episodes, if I remember correctly. So
it's a long one. It's a long haul, but worth it.
Yeah. Have you seen? There's a few older shows that I've watched. There's have you seen anything else by Tomino?
Tomino. What was he doing again?
Gundam. He was known
Gundam.
for. I mean, that's his most famous thing, but he's done other stuff. Like he's done a show called Ideon, which is literally his Kill 'Em All series. Or Battler Dunbine's another Kill 'Em All series he did. Those are 2 that I really like, even though they're dark as hell. Like there's a point in Dunbine where a character dies in a certain way. I was just like, he went there at the end. Like let's just say it was building up to something, and then he completely subverts what happens.
Okay.
It's like it literally like upset me seeing that. Like, yeah, I can't find it either. DJ Ronnie G. It's out of print, and they didn't bother putting it back. So, okay, what about Bubblegum Crisis? Have you seen Bubblegum Crisis?
Oh, that's another one that I gotta. But that's getting into the 90s though, isn't it? But
still in the 80s, late 80s.
Still in the
first few episodes. Yeah.
No, I didn't get into Bubblegum Crisis. I watched a lot of Street Fighter 2 V was good. I liked watching that. That was very enjoyable.
I think that was the mid 90s, I think.
Yeah, Young Ken and Ryu.
Territory. Okay.
I got that on VHS. Gunbuster is a great mech show. It's only 6 episodes, but it's so well done by Gainax.
Waifus, yeah.
Well, waifus, yeah, but still, it's an excellent, well done and animated story.
That's still on my list. I still haven't seen it yet. Have you seen anything else by Gainax? Have you seen
Wings of Oniamis? I've watched that
Wings
one.
of Hanamise. Yeah. There's one scene that is so hated, and I watched it. I'm like, yeah, I can definitely see why this one scene is hated. When a certain character does something, attempts to do something bad to somebody, to a woman.
Yeah, a little struggle.
I don't care if people are trying to kill you and you're under stress. Like I was just like I saw that, I was like, whoa, where did this come from? And then you realize, oh, it's Hideaki Anno.
Yeah.
Creator of Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Yeah, and that's another one that I watched. I've seen that one.
What'd you think? I didn't know what to make of it.
Well, I watched the TV show. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I watched the end of Evangelion, which does the proper ending, and I'm just like, whew, this is a lot.
and it made even less, and it probably made even less sense.
Yeah. So it did that all right, and it's just like, okay, well, I've seen it. I don't need to see it again. Did you see the Rebuild films, the ones that they just came out with? Anything after that, like Evangelion, like the
Rebuild films? They did 1, 2, 3, and 4. The 4th one just came out a couple years ago.
No, I can't say
totally different. They did like the first half of the main show the same, and then they went off in a completely different direction. They had this like 10 to 20 year time skip, and things are totally different. Like Nerve is split off with another organization led by Masato. It's weird. It's and it took him years to do it. This movie came out in 2007.
Wow.
This is 4 films. This is a 4-film series, tetralogy. The final film came out in 2021 after the pandemic. And the third movie came out in 2012. So there was a 9-year gap between the third movie and the fourth movie. And that was because Hideaki Anno was so depressed because he suffered. He's known for suffering from depression, especially working on Evangelion.
Oh, okay.
So he, to combat that, he decided to work. He was able to get the job working on Shin Godzilla. So he directed, I think it was his first live action movie, directorial debut. He did Shin Godzilla.
That's another one I got to see too. I've seen Godzilla -1, but I want to see Shin Godzilla.
Yeah, I did see Godzilla -1. I saw it because of a lot of our friends here on this platform. But yeah, Shin Godzilla is another one that actually I saw like a clip of it. It looks terrifying. Like they took some direction. They went into an interesting direction with Godzilla. I'm like, Godzilla can do this now? Holy crap. So, but yeah, the whole Evangelion thing with the angels attack is interesting because I learned quite a bit about. I learned like there's certain aspects of the Dead Sea Scrolls and just about Abrahamic aspects of Abraham that are not even in Scripture. It's like the character, like there's like Adam and Lilith, for instance. I'm like, who the heck is Lilith? I've never heard of Lilith.
Oh, that was Adam's first wife.
Yeah, like where did I like Lilith? There's been no mention of, well, at least in Scripture that I know of.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I mean, that series is interesting, but I don't know. Eva is Eva. So
yeah, that's for sure.
I do think I'm going to rewatch it at some point. So I don't know. But yeah, when it comes to shows, I still have. I mean, still some of my favorites. Obviously, besides the early Gundam, Legend of Galactic Heroes is one that I really like. Probably spent the most money on the Blu-rays back there. I don't know if you've seen that. Have you seen that series?
Not yet. It's on my list.
It's way. I think you should knock it all the way to the top. That's how good. That's how good it is. So, I was gonna try and create a clip of my intro to that video that I made, but yeah, well, whatever. But yeah, I definitely recommend that. Yeah, there's a lot of other shows. We could go on forever with that. So obviously, Dragon Ball, Sailor Moon, those were my gateways into anime in general.
Oh yeah. I've watched those two. Galaxy Express 39 is another good one. What else here? We got Dominion Tank Police. That's another good one.
Okay, I think I've heard that one. I think Brandon, the anime guys, has talked about that one quite a bit.
Yeah, it's only 4 episodes. You'll have it. It's quick to put down. It's fun. Either dub or sub. Okay.
What about, have you ever heard of Rojin Z or Rojin Z? That's the one with the elderly people in the nursing home, and they have mechs for them to help them so they could still do stuff.
Okay, I think I've heard the name.
It's a wacky comedy.
Okay, no, I've heard the name, but I don't believe I've watched it just yet.
Okay, it's interesting. All right, but yeah, I think we're getting close to the end. So, but yeah, Pop, thanks for doing this. Is there anything you want to promote? Anything you want to plug? Any channels you want to shout out?
Well, hey, make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe for Nerdporeal if you haven't already, because this is where he's coming to you from. And if you want, you can stop by my channel. I stream when I'm not moving. I stream every weekend in the morning shift at 9 a.m. my time, Saturday is reserved for retro games. Sunday is anime chat. And then on Tuesdays in the evening, because I'm in the trades and I have been for over 25 years, we'll talk about the trades and hopefully get people more interested in it and try to, maybe if they want a career in it, they can get started that way.
Nice. Thanks. All right. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. So for me, there's going to be another Chillporeal this week on Thursday. It's going to be, well, let's just say we'll find out in the outro who will be and what who will be and what the likely discussion, likely subject matter will be. So definitely check that out. I'll probably see if I get some more video content out. I've been planning more Chillporeals with trying to reach out to different people. So definitely, I'll still try to do them on Thursdays, but depending on the day, I generally will do them. I will generally do them whenever the guest, whenever it's comfortable for the guests. So if a guest had a Thursday show, I would do it on a different day then. So probably going to make a commercial for Chillporeal. So keep an eye out for that. And everybody, thanks for being here. And once again, everybody, everybody, once again, think about keep Clobbering Times in your thoughts and prayers. Mike Alonzo is his name. And everybody, have a good night. Take care. Stay Nerdporeal, and let's see who's going to be on the next Chillporeal.
See ya.